Next on the list is the variety of South Korea. South Korea is the
Three out of every four passenger units in the world have been attached simply for doing the job. Rather, 75% of the number of journalists present in the world. 850 passenger journalists worldwide give testimonies documenting threats of sexual assault, physical attacks, and penetrated images. Out of those 70% women filled with courage who shared their problems with us, from them 41% of them have faced online violence, which had affected them offline also. Journalists linking online attacks, which went offline, doubled from 20% in 2020 to 40% in 2025. South Korea concludes that when nearly half of these women say the harassment is online, this stops being a difficult safety issue and becomes a matter of physical safety. The Republic of South Korea emphasizes that the journalists should be protected at any cost because it's not a fault of the job.
not a follower.
It's not a fault of the
Right. Question. We take a question to the delegates of Korea or the question to ask question we will get placards. We will take the delegate.
Have your country enacted laws addressing online abuse? If yes, what additional measures is your delegation taking to reduce gender-based cyber harassment while protecting freedom of expression? South Korea has made many laws. For example, the Telecommunications People's Act. It is stopping all the device things and all, and also stopping the digitizing AI images.
Thank you so much. Next on the list is the delegate of Greece. Yes. Honorable Executive Board and esteemed delegates, Greece believes that women should never have to choose between participating in public life and being safe online. Coordinated harassment can silence women journalists, politicians, and activists and undermine equal participation. Greece's approach is based on platform accountability, trusted reporting mechanisms, and international cooperation. As an EU member, Greece supports the Digital Service Act, under which trusted flaggers receive priority treatment for notices of illegal content, while large platforms must address systemic risks, including gender-based violence. Greece proposes a priority response mechanism for verified coordinated harassment, stronger cooperation between platforms and competent authorities, digital safety training for women in public-facing roles, and clear appeal mechanisms. We must act firmly against abuse, but not at the cost of freedom of expression. Greece believes that a woman's right to participate in public life must never depend on her ability. Question? No. We'll take a question on the delegate of Greece. Algeria.
If the creator is operating from other countries, how exactly would you propose a solution for ensure that if the predator is operating from other countries, how exactly would you propose a solution for
Yes, we just had this speech from Greece. We have Israel, Iraq, Portugal, Mongolia, Denmark, Bolivia, Armenia, Canada, Iran, and Ireland as the next 10 speakers. Then we have Nigeria, Mexico, Ethiopia, Belgium, Indonesia, Australia, Bangladesh, China, Philippines, and Afghanistan. Okay. We are halfway through our moderated topics. Still on this is the delegate of Israel. Yes, please.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, the Commission on the Status of Women, guided by SDG 5 and CSW-67, outcomes deeply concerned that 2.6 billion people remain offline with women outnumbering male non-users by 17%. Around that 85% of women experience online violence, while 90 to 95% of online deepfakes non-consensually target women and highlighting Israel's model where women hold 36% of high-tech roles, alongside white military and civilian cyber leadership, hereby calls upon member states to integrate cyber hygiene into school curricula based on Israel's marathon and she codes models. Urges national legislation against non-consensual media distribution following Israel's 2014 sextortion law. Recommends mandatory safety by design standards and C2P.
Question?
Yes.
We'll take a question from the delegate of Israel. Yes, sir. Yes, please ask the question.
Israel has mentioned about technological capacity and has significant technological capacity, but how does the delegation ensure that cybersecurity education reaches vulnerable women and girls rather than remaining concentrated among technologically advanced populations?
We have catered specialized programs for vulnerable groups like activists, children, journalists, etc., like DevOps and tech people. Please move on.
You can answer for you can ask for specific biology. Please make it via YouTube. So we check it. Via chat, not via. Uh, Next is the delegate of Iraq.
Can I start?
Yes.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, the Republic of Iraq would like to focus on a group that faces a very specific form of online violence. Women who are already using their voices publicly. Women journalists, politicians, and activists can face mass harassment, fake accounts, threats, and coordinated misinformation. And when several accounts target the same person, simply blocking one account is obviously not enough. Iran believes that governments need to make reporting mechanisms more accessible and ensure that serious cases are properly investigated. Social media platforms also have a responsibility to respond to coordinated abuse instead of treating every case as an isolated incident. Iraq has also worked with UNESCO to train Iraqi women journalists, content creators, and civil society representatives in responsible digital engagement. Women should not have to leave public spaces simply because those spaces have become unsafe for them.
Thank you, delegate. Would you like to take a question?
Yes.
We take a question for the delegate of Iraq. Delegate of yes. Delegate of China, you may ask the question.
What concrete measures has Iraq taken to protect women from cyberbullying and online gender-based violence?
Thank you, delegate. Iraq is strengthening cross-border digital reporting and law enforcement cooperation. Its National Security Services, a MUN platform, provides specialized support against electronic blackmail and coordinates with Iraqi judicial authorities and digital companies. Iraq has also launched an electronic reporting channel for human trafficking, crimes through the UN platform, allowing reports and
Thank you, delegates. What is it exactly with the OC that you guys can have to explain or particularly?
there was this answer attached to it, so like I can get that.
It's a reply to your question. You must have asked a question to somebody, they replied. This
So
is the
I didn't
reply.
ask, somebody asked me and I don't
वो तीन क्वेश्चन फिर से आ गए
yeah.
Okay. We move on to the next speaker on the list, which is the delegate of Portugal. Portugal, you have to talk. You can also take your dice if you want. Take your dice over there. If you want to, if you wish to.
Yes. Decades ago, women entering public life were the exception, not the norm in Portugal. Today, women in our own parliament, they lead institutions, build careers, and they are increasingly influencing the decisions of our country. Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, in 1976, only 4.9% of the members of Portuguese parliament were women. By 2025, women accounted for 36.5% of the parliament. But we don't confuse progress with perfection. UNESCO's global research also found that 73% of the surveyed women journalists had experienced online violence. In Portugal, the answer has been given through National Plan for the Safety of Journalists approved in 2025 and 2022 to 2026 National Strategy for Equality and Non-Discrimination. The Portuguese journey shall teach us one thing. Equality is not simply getting women into public life, but it is making sure that nothing drives them.
Question to the delegate of Portugal. We will take the delegate of. Yes, sir.
So, according to the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, online harassment remains widespread among women in Europe, particularly. So, has Portugal introduced any stronger legal binding protection against this technology facilitated gender-based violence? For your country. Yes, I already mentioned it in my mod speech that we have actually introduced national strategy for equality and non-discrimination, and there was another law which was 23/something, which was for non-consensual internet imagery sharing, and it was criminalized that.
The delegate of Algeria.
Delegate of Algeria and Saudi Arabia requested to go to the Secretary for the feedback.
Just 2 minutes.
And please promptly reach back into the committee also done with that. Next speaker on the list is the next is delegate of Mongolia. I really didn't answer, then I answer. Mongolia, yes. Armenia, what point? Can you tell us the next speakers? Yes. After Mongolia, we have Denmark, Bolivia, Armenia, Canada, Iran, Ireland, Nigeria, Mexico, Ethiopia, Peru, Indonesia, Australia, Bangladesh, China, Philippines, and Afghanistan. With this, Mongolia, you have the floor.
Yes. Honorable Chair, Vice Chair, and distinguished guests. Let's stop pretending the internet is free for everyone.
For women journalists, politicians, and activists, it's a battlefield. In Saudi Arabia, 41% of surveyed women believe they were targeted online because of their gender. In Canada, 65% of journalists experience online harassment. This is not ordinary criticism. This is coordinated, technology facilitated abuse. And the excuse, it is only online. One country calls it a crime, the other calls it a Tuesday. Mongolia says enough. Our solution. Mongolia Digital Protection Protocol. Fast track takedown for doxing, deepfakes, threats, and coordinates attacks within 24 hours. Adopting a measure by which previous cases ruling, data, and measures taken to be kept which will help in solving further cases. Women deserve protection online of surveillance, censorship, or silence.
Uh, would you like to take question Mongolia? Questions to the delegate Mongolia. Uh, yes, we will take the delegate of. We will take the delegate before total unit.
If the perpetrators of coordinated online harassment operate anonymously or from outside Mongolia, what practical mechanism does your delegation propose to identify them and hold them accountable?
The law on protection of information that reduces and we also have the law on digital and the club policy for the digital development and the digital policy.
It's called a first progress. And that also है. Could you please repeat your answer to the question? A bit louder for them that you have come.
We have the law on protection of personal information. There it says that online privacy and personal information. It is adopted in 2021. Then we have the law on cybersecurity. And then we have the digital development framework. Thank you.
Delegate Denmark is the next speaker on the list. She will begin. Yes, sir.
How many women must be threatened into silence before this house falls into crisis? The numbers are alarming. 73% of women journalists surveyed by UNESCO experienced online violence, 25% received threats of physical violence or death, and 20% faced online attacks. Among women parliamentarians across 33 Asia-Pacific countries, 60% experienced online gender-based violence. Denmark's stance is uncompromising. Women must be able to report, protest, and go on without being digitally haunted. With women holding 48% of seats in Denmark's parliament, Denmark recognizes digital safety as democratic security. When a threat can reach a woman in seconds, why should protection take days? Denmark proposes a 24/7 women's digital SOS, one number connecting victims instantly to cyber police, legal aid, and emergency support. One call triggers evidence preservation, account lockdown, and immediate physical risk assessment. Let reporting trigger protection, not other battles for victims.
Question
Yes.
for the delegate of Denmark. We will take delegate of Australia.
How would Denmark distinguish coordinated harassment from legitimate criticism of politicians, especially when many people independently criticize the same politician online? Genuinely. How would Denmark distinguish coordinated harassment from legitimate criticism of politicians, especially when many people will independently criticize the same politician online? Genuinely. Denmark has adopted many laws such as Joint Government Digital Strategy in 2022 with 61 initiatives which focus on cybersecurity, AI, digital inclusion, secure public services, as well as which you mentioned it with the politicians, National Cyber and Information Security Strategy with Digital Decade Roadmap in
delegate, you all. Thank you very much. Delegate, please recognize the presence of the Secretary. Sure. I just want to know what is the I just want to it will be great for lunch and dinner. No, I just want yes, yes. For how long is it closed to the lunch is till 12:30. As of now, when you come back from lunch, it will open again. And both yes, both pure and substantive. Substantives are open altogether. The floor closes. Whatever I told you, 1:30 will close it completely. However, now that I got to know the result, there might be a few changes. Give me 2 minutes. I'll just take your doubts, come back, and then we break for lunch at 12:40 sharp. You guys will come back to me at 1:20. 40 minutes lunch break works for everybody?
Yes.
Is it too less?
No, no, no.
Yes.
What about documentation?
Yes, we'll do something. But about the documentation, we might not be able to make a very rigorous document because I want you guys to have more debate. Fair enough?
Yes.
I'll come, we'll get back to the session. We have at least 13 more speakers of this month. We might, instead of the last mod, let's probably do a movie. I'll explain it to you. If you guys get the concept, probably we go ahead with that. But 1:30 के बाद पहले दे दो सही है बाद में सारी किट्स का ट्राई करना नेसेसरी नहीं है 4 दिन
If the chip card is over, can we write the answers for the road card or what?
Guys, please stop sending the resolution as it is not final that we are going to do the documentation or not. So, अभी मत भेजो.
It was not an unmoderated copy of delegates. However, it wasn't a unmod. You were supposed to do your own stuff. Anyways, we will revert back to the moderated caucuses. Next on the list, we have the delegate of Bolivia. Yes, Bolivia.
Chair. In 2022, a journalist named Francisco Sandoval was shot while covering a demonstration. She wasn't in some far-flung conflict zone. She was in Chile, a country this room keeps holding up as a digital rights model. I raise this because Bolivia has heard again and again delegations speak about online harassment as though it's a comment section problem. Something you solve with a reporting button. It is not. For women in public life across our region, half have had their images weaponized, their safety threatened, simply for showing up to work. Bolivia became the first country on earth to criminalize political violence against women back in 2012 because we understood early that silence is the goal of these campaigns. Silence is a journalist, silence a candidate, silence a activist.
Thank you. Would you like to take a question?
Yes.
Questions for the delegate of Bolivia.
Political inquiry. Till what time can we submit substantive change?
We'll let you know. Questions for the delegate of Bolivia. Anybody other than these four people, they've already asked 2 questions each. Yes. Eurasian.
Does the delegates framework distinguish between free speech and coordinated abuse, and who decides that? Does the delegates framework distinguishes between free speech and coordinated abuse, and who decides that?
Acknowledge informal sector gap policy. Cited as a documented national challenge. Bolivia is actively legislating on, again, honestly, forward movement towards better. Okay.
So we're going to follow protocol. Armenia, Canada, Iraq, Ireland, Nigeria. Armenia, you have to go to the next 6 minutes.
Empowerment of women doesn't only come from being able to go out of the house or getting a job. These are basic rights, but so is the right to privacy, which we often forget in such discussions. Think about it. Still in 21st century, we can't ensure a safe work environment for our women. Coordinated harassment campaigns isn't random abuse. They're organized attacks meant to remove women from public life entirely. And very frankly, they are working. Getting hated for things as basic as raising a question, forming an opinion. Armenia proposes 2 concrete solutions. First, establish joint task forces between national crime, cyber crime units and major platforms, specifically trained to identify coordinated harassment. Legal aid so they aren't left defending themselves alone against networks built to overwhelm them, and mainly a platform for giving anonymous proof and harassment that has happened.
delegate?
Yes.
Question for the delegate for Romania, please.
And Salvador.
Armenia's ongoing security tension with Azerbaijan have often dominated national policy attention. Have women journalists or political figures in Armenia reported coordinating online harassment campaigns? And if so, does the state have any protective mechanism distinct from general cybersecurity policy?
We have not stayed silent. Of course, we have to talk about other issues as well. We cannot solely focus on one issue particularly. We're over here discussing about women's rights, and as you asked for the things we're doing, we are advancing a media self-regulation law with input from the Council of Europe's Venice Commission, and the cases of violence against journalists have lowered down from 14 cases to 6 cases, which shows that we're working towards betterment and we will be working towards it.
Next is the delegate is Canada. Canada is asking of some begin.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates. When women journalists, politicians, and activists are silenced online, democracy itself loses a voice. Canada recognizes this threat. Women such as Maria Ressa have faced coordinated online abuse by the female politicians worldwide continue to receive threats simply for speaking publicly. Canada proposes two solutions. First, a UN-backed rapid response network connecting platforms, law enforcement and victims to quickly report, preserve evidence, and respond to vulnerable attacks. Second, a women's digital shield fund providing cybersecurity training, legal assistance, and psychological support to women in public life. Canada believes that online harassment must never become the price of having public voice. Thank you.
Question. Question for the delegate Canada. Although you've already asked two, please don't raise your black cards. You've also asked me. Two. How is it possible? I have my registration sheet now. One yesterday, one today. Bangladesh.
How can international cooperation be strengthened to address cross-border online abuse? How can international cooperation be strengthened to address cross-border online abuse?
As I already mentioned in my non-profits that we can I put up the solution that rapid response network and Shayfan and even Canada has invested a lot in it, like the Canpol program and in Feminist International Policy, which was we invested, we did the inaugural seminar of it, and we have done a part. That's why we are the global leaders of the
And who delegates that you are? Delegate of Iraq. Delegate of Iraq.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, today, women who are journalists, politicians, or activists may face a lot of harassment online. They can receive threats, get fake accounts made about them. This can make women afraid to speak up and share their opinions. Iran believes that women need better protection on AI. Iran's committed rights law has treated cybercrimes.
Which committee is this? CSW. So this.
However, laws are not enough. Women also need simple ways to report abuse and get help when something happens. But the problem is that these people get hide behind the ground or even operate from another country. That is why countries need to share information and work together to find the people responsible. No woman should collaborate only because she chooses to speak out.
Would you like to take a question? It's okay. We'll move on to the next speaker in that case. Alright. Ireland, Iceland, you may begin.
Honorable distinguished delegates, the dedication of Ireland believes that women journalists and politicians should be able to speak and work online without fear of harassment. Today, many women in public roles face online threats, abuse, fake accounts, and sharing of private information. This can make women afraid to speak up or take part in public life. Ireland believes that online safety should protect women while making sure women can use digital spaces safely. Ireland supports stronger reporting systems on online platforms, faster action against serious threats, and better digital safety education for women and girls. Ireland also believes that government and online platforms should work together to deal with online harassment efficiently. Thank you.
Question? Delegate of Mexico is the next speaker.
Mexico rises to address the threat to democracy itself. In Mexico, women journalists, politicians, and activists face several coordinated online harassment characterized by gender abuse, stalking, and smear campaigns. Combating this crisis requires stronger digital safety protocols, legal reforms to reduce impunity, and active accountability to detect threats. A journalist receives rape threats for reporting her truth when a candidate has an at-risk speech before an election, when an activist is targeted by bots after speaking somehow, and the message is clear: speak up and make it right. Mexico takes steps like a stronger digital safety protocols, really unified reporting system across platforms that flag coordinated harassment within hours, not days. Second, legal reform to end impunity for real accountability from tech companies. Platform must detect patterns of repeated harassment, protect high-risk users, and cooperate with government to protect coordinated attacks. Most importantly,
Thank you, delegate. Would you like to take a question? Questions for the delegate of Mexico. All those who have already asked you questions, please refrain from using your placards. Anybody with just one question or no questions, please raise your placards. Yes, I will go away.
Mexico experiences high rates of violence against female journalists, often preceded by cyber doxing. Why hasn't Mexico enforced mandatory 24-hour threat removal with big tech tools?
Mexico does not change your protection. We recognize the shortcomings, but Mexico has made a better protection mechanism for journalists and human rights defenders, strengthen legal recognition of digital violence to real on India, and continue to push for greater accountability from digital platforms. So,
Thank you, delegates. We will move on to the next speaker, which is the delegate of Nigeria. Yes, I will.
When a woman is silenced already, democracy matters. Dear and fellow delegates, female journalists, politicians, and activists face organized online abuse every day. People use fake accounts and hate comments to force them to stop speaking. Nigeria takes this problem seriously through our Cybercrime Act and VAPC Act. We make targeted online abuse illegal, but national laws are not enough when the social media algorithm promotes hate. Nigeria calls on UN-CSW to force big tech companies to create fast emergency help lines for targeted women in politics.
Would you like to take a question? Questions for Nigeria. Please raise your placards. All those who already asked you questions, please do not raise your placards. Please, you may ask the question.
How does the delegation ensure that women participating in public and political life can report online harassment without facing barriers to justice?
I would like to answer this.
Thank you. Answer the works. Yes, next on the list is the delegate of Ethiopia.
Honorable Chair, Ethiopia believes that when online harassment is coordinated, treating every post as an individual incident misses the bigger problem. A journalist or activist can face hundreds of accounts targeting her at once, and by the time one report is processed, the harm may already have spread. So Ethiopia proposes a more practical response. First, clear reporting and escalation systems for coordinated attacks. Second, gender-sensitive training for law enforcement and media institutions. And third, stronger cooperation between platforms and national authorities when critical threats are identified. But we also need to be realistic. A country cannot implement these mechanisms without trained institutions and resources. Ethiopia therefore stresses capacity building and financial and technical assistance, especially for developing countries.
Question for the delegate of Ethiopia. Questions for the delegate of Ethiopia. All those who already asked to please note on the placards. Both of you have asked two questions. Any other questions for the delegate of Ethiopia? Okay.
Can Ethiopia elaborate on how its e-safety frameworks, especially address targeted harassment of women in media?
Next is the delegate of Belgium. Yes.
Esteemed Chair, distinguished delegates, today we speak about violence that leaves no visible wounds, but silences half the world's voice. Across every region represented in this room, women journalists and women politicians are being driven out of public life, not through debate, not through ballot box. Women continue facing cyberstalking and online harassment. These crimes specifically target their public life. Women in journalism, activism, and politics are targeted not because their voices are weak, but are influential. The Institute of Belgium provides legal information and support to victims of digital sexual violence. Since July 2026, Belgium Institute for the Equality of Women has trusted flag status under the EU Digital Service Act. Belgium believes a safer digital world is not a privilege for women. It is their right. Thank you.
Would you like to take a question? Okay, so moving forward, we have the delegate of Indonesia. Yes.
Distinguished Chair, esteemed delegates, to silence a woman's voice is to weaken the foundation of a nation's democracy. The delegation of Indonesia stands before this committee to address a great threat to global governance. A UN study in 2025 found that 70% of women human rights defenders, activists, and journalists have experienced online gender-based violence. Threats, doxing, sexualized abuse are not only isolated incidents, they are organized attacks meant to push women out of public discourse. Indonesia, home to one of the world's largest digital population, has taken action through electronic information and transactions law and the personal protection law. Yet, coordinated harassment often crosses borders. Indonesia calls on this commission to recognize online harassment as a threat to state stability. Indonesia stands ready to partner in this effort. Thank you.
Question for the delegate of Indonesia. Yes, I do. We will take the delegate of Nigeria.
Over 80% of good females when registering a country report facing harassment on it. What concrete legal action is Indonesia taking to hold online abuses accountable?
Thank you for the question, Delegate. As Indonesia, not every country is not perfect. Indonesia does not promise perfection. But yes, we have introduced several laws to protect the women of our country from these types of cyber harassment. Some of these laws are the Electronic Information and Transactions Law and the Personal Data Protection.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate mentioned the laws of the speakers. It's right. What is it that you guys are talking about with the right sir? Why in the middle of the speeches? Can't why in the middle of the speeches. Next on this is the delegate of Australia. You have the floor. You will begin.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, today we confront a troubling reality. Coordinated online harassment is not online trolling. It is a weaponized campaign to drive women out of public life. According to UN Women, 81% of women in politics experience online harassment. This reveals an assault on free expression and democracy. Coordinated harassment is designed not just to harm individuals, but to falsify information, ecosystems, and string civic debate, leaving communities less informed. This is a security and governance issue, not a private inconvenience. When oppression shapes who can speak safely, institutions lose legitimacy and societies lose talent. Australia refused to accept the current state of affairs. Australia calls for the establishment of international legal frameworks that criminalize online harassment, an international task force dedicated to investigating and prosecuting offenders.
Question. Question to the delegate of Australia. We will take a question from the delegate of. Although you already asked the questions, please not on the placards. Please not on the placards. An idea cannot be the question related to the last question. Otherwise, it will have. Have a question? Do you have a question? Or is it that? We will wait and person. No question. There are only two more speakers left. We already have 10 more minutes to do it. We have Bangladesh and Bangladesh, China, Philippines, Afghanistan. Bangladesh, you are the next speaker. Bangladesh, yes. You will begin.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, online harassment is a major societal challenge that impacts multiple communities. Some members of community like female journalists, politicians, and activists, they are significantly higher impact since their profession requires easy accessibility, transparency about their identity, and involves highlighting stories of injustice. In late 2020, UNESCO and the International Center for Journalists conducted a global survey about online violence against women journalists and found that 73% of women had experienced online harassment and 26% reported negative impact on mental health. Further, 38% made themselves less visible online, 30% self-censored on social media, 20% withdraw from all online interactions. Furthermore, 4%
question. We'll take a question for Bangladesh. Please use your placard up and high. All those who already asked the question. That is everything. It's okay, no question. It's okay. Next we have the delegate of China. China.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, women journalists, politicians, and Activists should be able to speak online without being threatened or silent. UN Women report that 73% of women journalists have experienced online knowledge, showing that this is not just an individual problem. My delegation believes that we need stronger reporting system, faster action against coordinated harassment, and better support for victims. Platform should respond to serious threats, while government should strengthen law and enforcement. International cooperation is also important because online abuse can cross borders. Countries should share good practices, strengthen capacity, and promote safer digital environment while respecting national laws and legitimate freedom of expression. Protecting women online is not about giving them special treatment. It's about to ensure the women can participate safely, freely, and confidently in public life. Thank you.
You would like to take it? Philippines is the next speaker on the list.
Honorable Chair and esteemed delegates, when a woman is present online for speaking, the attack is not digital anymore. It is an attack on her right to participate in society. And as per reports, 75% of surveyed women journalists have experienced online violence. The Philippines has responded to our Advocacy Act 111, the Safe Space Act, which criminalizes gender-based online harassment, cyberstalking, threats, and the non-consensual sharing of sexual content. But the Philippines believe that the law is only as strong as implication. We therefore call for rapid reporting system, platform accountability, and digital safety education to ensure that women journalists, activists, and politicians can speak without fear. Let us make the digital space a platform for women voices, not a weapon against them. Thank you.
Question? We'll take questions for Philippines. Yes, Nigeria.
Female journalists in your country face massive online mobbing and face cyber charges. What exact law are you enforcing to arrest ardent users instead of silence reporters?
Thank you for the question. Yes, the Philippines have made many policies, strength and national policies, such as tackling tactics and abuse, anti-online sexual abuse or exploitation of children, Consent Act, to combat digital network exploiting vulnerable groups and digitally digital crime.
Thank you, Delegate. Thank you, Delegate. Delegate of Afghanistan is the last speaker for this moderated caucus. Delegate of Afghanistan,
Yes.
last speaker for this moderated caucus.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, today I would like to speak about the online harassment faced by women journalists, politicians, and activists. Social media has given people a platform to express themselves, but unfortunately, it has also become a place where women are targeted through threats, harassment, and the spreading of personal information. This kind of harassment can discourage women from speaking publicly or participating in important discussions. Afghanistan believes that this issue requires cooperation between government, social media companies, and international organizations. We should improve reporting systems, make it easier for victims to seek help, and strengthen cooperation when harassment crosses national borders. At the same time, we must make sure that efforts to stop online abuse do not unnecessarily restrict freedom of expression. Women should be able to participate in public life without being silenced by online threats.
Thank you, Delegate. Would you like to take a question? Would you like to take the question? With this, we come to the end of the second moderated caucus. Right. Once you guys come back, Iraq, what point to raise? Iraq, what point?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely that works. Once we come back from the lunch, we will proceed with an open debate, also called challenges. I think so here. What is an open debate? It's round robin
kind of a system. I maintain a recognition sheet. You speak for smaller intervals, but multiple times. The recognition is made simultaneously as you speak instead of at once and then follow like you do. The maximum time would be 30 minutes at max. Probably a 20-minute motion for the same. We'll begin with that. Then raise an extension if required. And that will be the last. I think so verbatim that you guys will be giving. Post that we'll move into documentation. For documentation, you all will be making a so we have something called agreed conclusions in UN-CSW. It's not a DR particularly, but it somewhat follows the similar, idea or objective. They are adopted at the annual sessions of the commission, and I'm just figuring out whether there is a agreed conclusions plus sample format that I can show to you guys. You will be making that, which I've already found, so I'll send that to you guys, and then you guys can choose to make it like that. It's like a DR but with less complexities, and we'll be having one change in that. We will be making only one voting or like agreed conclusion. We make only one agreed conclusion. The format for the same will be shared with you. Suppose the open debate will move on to that process. Okay. Everything about the agreed conclusions, what all you put there, will start once we start with the documentation. No further queries regarding the same? Yes, Shaila.
My query. We can do backfire right.
Sorry?
We can do backfire right.
You can choose to utilize your speaking time in asking questions, targeting another country, speaking about your own country. Please don't read out from a piece of paper. Please don't use ChatGPT. That won't work for you. Yes, Sauti.
Point of inquiry that in the studio, how much speaking time will each delegate be having?
On an average, 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yes, Buddha.
How many authors?
Like I said, documentation process, but we talk about all the levels. Now,
About the agenda of the scene.
agenda is the main agenda. Yes. I mean,
We can speak for 30 seconds, we can ask a question.
whatever you want to do in that 30 seconds. You want to pose a question to another delegate, target them, give a speech of how bad of a country they are, feel free to do that. Yes. Okay. If that's all, you guys can proceed to lunch. It's already 12:40. Yes, yes, ma'am.
We are targeting 50 answers.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
Then I will also
Huh. On an average, it will be 30 seconds. I won't let anybody speak more than one point at a time.
you can also get advantage. Like for initiating a challenge.
Yeah.
One delegate
I will recognize people will see whether they are asking questions or whether they are doing answers. But depending on whom the question is, the recognition will follow around.
can use the payment to answer the number.
You can use the
Payment to answer the number.
chat GPT.
The payment.
Honestly,
There is a lot on online harassment. Do not repeat it. Yes. Yeah.
When the practice sessions were going on, we were told that UN-CSW does not have challenges.
I was there. I said that in general we do not follow challenges because it's not that type of an agenda. However, we'll do an open debate instead. It is like a consultation of parties, everybody gets to speak for 30 seconds. Okay, yes, Will they will pass motion on the basis of votes or what? For this, the challenge assessment, if the motion is passed, it is not a challenge before it to document it. It might be dialogue. We will do that. Okay, so guys, you guys are 1:30. Anybody who comes in late, your loss.
Ma'am, we have voting colors.
वो तो है यार वो तो mandatory है चलो goodbye see you guys at 1:30 bye ma'am
ये चल रहा है ए चलना बाद में लिखना देखो कोई ऐसे ही पकड़ा गया उनसे पूछ के जाना फिर नाम बता
इस बार वो AI से बनाने हैं नोट की स्पीड है इसको एक सब्जेक्ट पे याद नहीं है
वैसे ही खाया ये वो भी खा सकता है मेरा मन नहीं मानता बिना कब से मैं कल से बोल रही हूँ आपसे। कर दो नाम कर दो प्लीज ऐसे कौन सा आई है पता नहीं
वो भी है सही बोला बस क्लास में खाना पड़ा है बस क्लास से उठ रही हूँ। फोन लेके आए नहीं लेके आए तो अभी होगा उसके साथ यार हम लोगों को साथ ही मिल रहे हैं